Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble news channel. No matter what, the issues of entitlements or any kind of plan to cut spending or the debt, Trump is making prices go up then. That being said, I really believe this, which is why I think there will be 3 rate cuts. You're getting more work done with AI, and the supply chain is getting back connected to Asia. That's why industry is back, and it's back in a big way. Prices will go down when there is more supply. And I think that's what will happen naturally because of all the technology out there now. I don't think the red cuts rate goes back to the Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of Skybridge Capital, is a huge fan of Bitcoin, which is the largest cryptocurrency by market cap. He also manages alternative assets and gives financial advice. Anthony, who used to be the head of communications for the White House, thinks that Bitcoin is a good way to protect against rising prices and the U.S.'s huge $34 trillion national debt. Anthony has put hundreds of millions of dollars into cryptocurrencies and said he will build more gold mines if the market for them goes up. Bitcoin has a limit. In a new movie with David Lin and Anthony, Supply makes more comparisons between gold and Bitcoin, even though the two are similar. Different Worlds Bitcoin is the biggest digital asset in the world and the leader of the digital movement that is changing the way money is handled around the world. Anthony is positive about spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds ETFs. He thinks that these funds will continue to attract big investors with tens of trillions of dollars to their portfolios. He says Bitcoin is like the SPDRR Gold Trust ETF, pointing out that gold prices went through the roof after it was approved and put into service. Anthony thinks that Bitcoin's value could skyrocket to $250,000 once the Bitcoin ETF gets $100 billion in investments. For more Bitcoin and other digital asset videos, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post alerts. Then we'll show you some highlights from Anthony's most recent chat with David Lin. Your work helps the YouTube system and channel growth a lot. Thanks, and have fun. Firstly, let's start with the following question: would people accept a source of value in the digital world? Then there's the if question, and the answer is yes, if it met all the criteria that people have traditionally looked for: a place to store value, a lack of it, an easy way to use it, and something they can trust so that they can pass it around and know the value stays the same. As a result, we used gold for 5,000 years. During that time, a group of people, I think it was more than one, on Satoshi Nakamoto's computer programming team created a way for us to eventually have a decentralized database, which would allow us to connect with each other without any restrictions. To put it simply, I can pay you over this network without using a third party. They are very different from other things. This system is really one of a kind, and someone came up with it about 15 years ago. The technology grew as more people used it and learned how to use it. Right now I'm finishing up a book for John Wiley. The Little Book of Bitcoin is the name of it. What you need to know that Wall Street already knows. Wall Street already knows this. They put in for these ETFs. And they're marketing these ETFs as a possible extra way to store value, like gold. So yes, this is a new asset. In the United States, only 5% of people use it. There's no reason this can't be a 3, 4, or 5-figure asset if it keeps growing and adopting at the same rate as the last 10 years. So to give your watchers and listeners some background, if gold is worth $16 trillion, Bitcoin is worth $1.5 trillion. In 15 years, could Bitcoin grow by 10 times? I think it can, and I think it has the technical features that would let it do that. That's already taking place. Yes, I think so. Bitcoin is still following a tech stock right now. It's following NVIDIA. In the past, it would have been called the Magnificent 7 or Super 6. These are tech stocks like Apple, Amazon, Google, NVIDIA, Facebook, and so on. And yes, that is being tracked right now. It's not fully grown up yet. As soon as it's fully grown, it will start to behave like gold. Yes, you did lower rates. You are going to make stock leadership in the markets bigger. If rates are lowered, it will help the real estate market, especially in the US. I've also said over and over that the Fed will cut rates at least 3 times this year. For about 2 months, Wall Street said that there would be few to no rate cuts, and that the Fed would do a lot of browbeating and moral suasion to get them to do what they want to do. I think they don't really have a choice, though. Rates will go down. They don't want the economy to get too bad. There are going to be huge interest rate costs for us debt, and they can see them coming, and the rate of inflation is going down. I would tell your people to check out Truflation, a website that collects data on inflation. It gathers data from different sources, and it gets this information from sources other than the usual ones used by the CPI. We think this is a much better way to get the information. and they say that the United States core inflation rate is about 2.2% right now. According to the Fed, it's about 90 basis points more than that. They don't want to be too far behind the times if we're right and truflation is right. Since the election is coming up, I think rates will be lowered over a period of time. The first cut will probably happen in August and be 25 basis points. Speaker 1, they talked about changing political forces in the US, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies and other digital assets, during their conversation with Lynn Scaramucci. Willie, a well-known on-chain Bitcoin expert, said on Twitter in 2021 that Bitcoin would be political suicide in the next 3 years. Many people didn't agree with the statement. One person said, "My man, you are really living." Another person said they thought it would take 100 years for crypto to become a political issue. How wrong these estimates were. People running for president in the US, including former President Donald Trump, have backed Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. A lot of people who support cryptocurrency have said that lawmakers are finally realizing how strongly people feel about it. Even Democrats who used to hate cryptocurrencies are now voting for bills that will help them. Financial freedom isn't just a passing trend or something that only a few people are interested in. People who understand how serious the issue is will do everything they can to make sure that their chosen officials hear them and look out for their best interests. You might think that the Federal Reserve is a separate group, but that stopped being true in 1993. I will also raise rates before the election in 1992. He was running for office again. In 5 years, Ronald Reagan put him forward for the job. In 1987, he was put forward. Rates were going up in 1992. President George H.W. Bush did not want him to raise rates. He did it anyway. The election was lost by George Herbert Walker Bush. Many people say that was caused by many things, but the Fed was one of the main ones. Actually, you might be too young to remember this, but Alan Greenspan was the guest of honor at Bill Clinton's first State of the Union speech in March or February 1993. He sat next to the First Lady on the mezzanine upstairs. From that point on, the Federal Reserve has been a political body, so I don't think they want to have too much of an effect on the election. I'm not saying that, but I believe they are lowering rates before the election. That being said, there's no doubt that Trump will make prices go up because he's talking about it. If you read Project 2025 or the Trump economic plan, you'll see that taxes are going up by about 20% in some parts of the economy, all the way up to 20% with China. Prices will go up for most people because of that. Income that can be spent will go down. With Trump's tax hike, each person would lose almost $2,000 a year. So that leads to inflation. He also likes to spend a lot of money, which is a big problem with both of these prospects. Trump ran up a $7.8 trillion debt. Joe Biden has spent more than $8 trillion. Both of them have said that they will not talk about entitlement problems or any kind of plan to cut spending or the deficit under any circumstances. Trump is making prices go up then. That being said, I really believe this, which is why I think there will be 3 rate cuts. You're getting more work done with AI, and the supply chain is getting back connected to Asia. So making things is back, and it's back in a big way. Prices will go down when there is more supply. And I think that's what will happen naturally because of all the technology out there now. Based on what I've learned, I don't think interest rates will go back to 0% unless there is some kind of world disaster.